Giờ chưa 8 giờ. Chưa tới giờ mà. Treo chồng con ngồi. David West.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. West.
Good morning.
Hey, what on Antonio Howard, did you ever provide me with your email address for me to send you his petition?
No, well, I don't know if my staff did that or.
No, I don't think so. So that's why I was when I saw you on this morning, I was about to ask you, are you able to either send me an email or anything so you can have a copy of his petition?
Well, can I just give you my email address?
Okay, hold on.
That'd be great.
Hold on 1 second. I'm ready.
It's David at West, like my last name,
Okay.
defense.com. So David at westdefense.com.
All right, it's coming right over, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
No problem.
All right, good morning. We've got several cases on this morning who've joined the Zoom call. Mr. Hudson is not present yet for Mr. Pretty. Mr. Matos is not present yet. Mr. Fortas, what's your announcement in Letitia Lawrence?
Judge, Ms. Lawrence has 2 matters, a violation of probation, new charges, and I've worked out an arrangement to dispose of both this morning.
Okay. And you've gone over her rights and everything with her, so she's ready to go? I think you're, Mr. Fortas, whatever. Okay, go ahead.
I wasn't forwarded a waiver of rights form, but I went over that with her on the phone.
Okay,
so
great.
I have the impression that y'all may do that orally, but
I do. I do. I just want to make sure you went over it with her. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and Mr. McDowell, is the state present? I see that you're on the call.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm having some video issues.
All right, and Ms. Lawrence, is that your case, Mr. McDowell?
No, it's not, Your Honor, but if you give me 1 second, I can look up the information and provide it to you.
Whose is it? Is it Ms. Jansen's?
It's Ms. Blunt's.
It's Ms. Blunt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do we know where Ms. Blunt is?
I do not have that information at this time, Your Honor.
All right.
And I apologize. I'm trying to get the information, and now I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay. In the meantime, we'll hold for Ms. Blunt's appearance. Mr. Florio, who do you represent?
Good morning, Your Honor. I represent Andrew Alexander. He has 3 separate cases on the probation revocation calendar.
All right, and what's your announcement in that matter?
Your Honor, I've spoken with Officer Stanley this week. If we may have just a 1-week continuance in the matter, I believe that we may have a consent agreement. It involves some mental health treatment for Mr. Alexander. We're just about a week shy of actually having that nailed down. His mother is going to probate court Tuesday afternoon to resolve some issues, some legal issues with him. But we should have everything resolved next Friday morning.
All right, well, it's going to be more than a week because we don't have a next Friday calendar. It will be 2 weeks. Any objection for that by the state?
No objection from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we'll move that. Thank you, Mr. Florio. Is that all?
Yes, ma'am. May I be excused, Your Honor?
You may be.
Have a good weekend, Judge.
You too.
Thanks, ma'am.
All right, good morning, Mr. Hudson. You're representing Mr. Pretty. What's your announcement, Mr. Pretty? And if you don't mind unmuting.
Good morning, Judge.
morning.
I wanted to resolve it today, and we was gonna stipulate to the violation.
Okay, and do you wish to be heard on disposition, or is it a step to the disposition as well?
I want to be heard on disposition, Judge.
Okay, all right. If the jail can bring Mr. Denzel Pretty to the podium, please. Well, they're on the call. Deputy, can you bring Pretty to the podium and unmute? Thank you. In the meantime, Ms. Jansen, are you handling Ms. Blunt's matters?
I'm happy to, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
I'm happy to. Will pull up her petitions and be ready to do that.
All right, thanks.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize for any absence. Get it going.
It appears she's joining the call.
Oh, is she?
All right, good
Okay.
morning, Mr. Pretty. You're here this morning for probation revocation hearing. You were represented by Mr. Hudson as your attorney. Mr. Hudson, for the purposes of this hearing, is he waiving his right to be in my physical presence?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
All right, it's my understanding that the stipulation to violations, but he wishes to be heard on disposition. Is that correct, Mr. Hudson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so please place those on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant has done a violation of criminal law on or about December 28, 2017. He committed the offense of possession of methamphetamine and possession of marijuana over an ounce here in Clayton County. Also, on or about February 15, 2019, the defendant committed the offense of driving on a suspended or revoked license misdemeanor in Clayton County. Then on or about June 24th this year, 2020, the defendant committed the offense of giving false information to law enforcement and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, both misdemeanor. Here, I was actually in College Park, Georgia. Then, Your Honor, the next violation is a failure to report as instructed. He failed to report October 30th, 2019 as instructed or any time thereafter. His last reported time was August 29, 2019. The defendant has also failed to pay. He is currently $3,474 in arrears on court-ordered monies without ever making a payment. He has violated special conditions. The special conditions are that he get his GED or high school diploma and provide proof of employment and complete the theft prevention and anger management classes. Those have not, none of those he hasn't provided proof on any one of those, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Ms. Jansen, he has 2 cases. He has two
Yeah.
cases with violations on each case.
Right.
That are different.
the next one is the case that ends in 2737. And I apologize, Your Honor. The first one was for the case that ends in a 2315. And now specifically for case ending in 2737, the defendant did a violation of criminal law on or about 6/24/2020, committing the offense of giving false information to law enforcement officer misdemeanor and willful obstruction of an officer misdemeanor, College Park again. Failure to report as instructed is his next violation. He failed to report on October 30th, 2019 as instructed on any time thereafter. He, as I said earlier, he last reported August 29th, 2019. His failure to pay is $3,474 in arrears without ever making a payment. And then he violated the special condition to get alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary. He's not provided proof of any of those.
All right. Is that your understanding as to the stipulation as to violation, Mr. Hudson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Therefore, I will find by preponderance of the evidence that he has violated his probation. What is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is that for the case that ends in 2315, he be adjudicated guilty and sentenced to 1 year, 2 months, 11 days in the state penal system. In the case that ends in 2737, we would ask that the court to system concurrent with the case that ends in 2315 and then close that case.
What is the amount? It might have been my audio on 2737 that you're asking to revoke.
Okay, Your Honor, on 2737, we're asking the court to revoke 1 year to serve.
All right. What would you like to say on your client's behalf, Mr. Hudson?
Your Honor, is Mr. Pretty present? Because I wanted him to speak.
He is. He's present right here on the jail.
All right, can I swear him in, Judge? Because I want
I'll
him to
swear him in. Mr. Pretty, if I can get you to please raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the evidence and testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Pretty, just like when I had came to visit you at the jail, please tell Your Honor Judge Powers exactly how you went to non-reporting and to switch up with the probation officer, and I'm gonna make my argument on your behalf.
Okay, well, I guess around the time of August, I had Officer Catlin. I've been having Officer Catlin since 2017, and we actually had a good relationship dealing with him coming to see me. Some days, if I didn't get to see him at home, we'll do a virtual call, and I think it was Officer Quinn. I really don't remember who it was. Actually called my fiance at the time, and he called her private. We didn't actually know he was a probation officer at the time, and when he called her private, I basically got a text message from my fiance. She sent to her from him that she was interfering with police business and that she will be have a warrant on her and go to jail. So I actually tried to get in contact with him and never got a call back, a text back, or nothing. And I actually took my evaluation. I gave all my paperwork to Officer Catlin. Issue with Officer Catlin. He was still coming to see me at the same address I've been having over 8 years now. And I didn't even know I had a warrant. So that was basically what I told Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Pretty, you do stipulate to the other violations about the not getting the GED, the drug alcohol evaluation, and all of that, right?
I actually took my GED 2014 in Dodge State Prison. I have to take the science part over and the written test over. I actually did my theft prevention class, and I showed it to Officer Catlin when he came to see me, because he said that 2014 is when my probation started, and it started 2011 for the 10 years paper. So I pulled out all my paperwork and gave to him. He was supposed to make a copy of everything and actually present it to the chief of the probation office. I asked him numerous times if he talked to anybody. He never told me he talked to anybody.
Okay.
And my evaluation on Arrowhead.
And Mr. Pretty, Ms. Jansen is correct. You are behind in the money, though. Am I correct in saying that?
From what I know of, yes, but I did pay. I didn't pay everything like $100 a month, none of that. I was paying like $20 here, $40 there, $50 there because of the job that I work in.
Okay. Judge, I wanted to shift back
Well,
to my,
hang on one second. Do you have any further questions of this witness?
no, Your Honor.
Any questions by the state of Mr. Pretty?
Nothing from the state. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead then, Mr. Hudson.
Okay, sorry about that, Your Honor. I forgot that he was on the testimony. Your Honor, I stipulate to the violation. He didn't complete the GED. He did take classes. It was a switch up in the probation officers because they was never calling him to tell him to come report because he had been on, he had Officer Catlin who was contacting him, and they basically was, he was checking in via phone, reporting in virtual and house visits. I guess the miscommunication came once the probation officers got switched, which is common when people have longer probation, at least more than 5 years probation, Judge. It'd be a plethora of probation officers they get before the case go to non-reporting. So, Your Honor, I'm stipulating to the violation. However, Your Honor, I believe 1 year is a little too much for the cases, given that these are technical violations.
Didn't he stipulate to a criminal law violation too?
The misdemeanors, Judge. Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, which was giving false information and I believe obstruction. So I guess is 1 year is not enough. If you're looking at it from a misdemeanor standpoint, because the max on a misdemeanor is $12,000 or $1,000 fine and $1,000 fine. But Judge, I was going to ask that, you know, Mr. Pretty get a second chance. This is his first violation, and I was going to ask if he could, if we could give him time served and reinstate the ballots, given that his non-reporting came once the probation was once his officer had transferred. As far as the monetary wise, Judge, I don't believe Mr. Pretty has had steady employment. He's been working at various temporary agencies, and basically he doesn't have any support, that financial support no more, like he had a couple years back before he got sentenced. That's due to his criminal record. So, Judge, I was going to ask, he was trying to make slight payments. He is in arrears. And, Judge, I was going to ask that you give him time served and reinstate the balance.
I appreciate your argument, Mr. Hudson, but I remember Mr. Pretty from the 2018 case when I took his plea and he was on probation on the 2011 case. So this would be not a first violation. And I told Mr. Pretty then that he would have to obey by the terms and conditions, and he's done nothing. That I sentenced him to at that point, and I did not revoke his first offender at that point. So for case number 2011 CR 02315, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sir, revoke a year, and close the case. It's the case number 2018 CR 02737. I'm going to revoke a year concurrent with the other matter and close the case. That's to run concurrently with one another, and it'll be a year to serve.
Your Honor, can Mr. Pretty get credit for the time that he's been in the Clayton County Jail?
He will get any credit as he's allowed to under the law. That'll be calculated by the Department of Corrections as they're directed to do.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Mr. Pretty may go back.
May I be excused?
You may, sir. Have a good week and be safe.
You too. Great seeing you, Judge, and Ms. Jansen.
Good seeing you too. All right. Ms. Blunt has joined us. Are we ready on Mr. Fortis's matter? Letitia Lawrence.
What was the name, ma'am?
Lawrence.
Oh. I'm on with Judge Powers.
All right. While she's here, Mr. West, who do you represent?
Judge, I represent Joshua Nguyen.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Lawrence. You're here this morning for two matters. I believe Mr. And you're represented by Mr. Fortis. He's indicated that you guys have reached a global resolution as to a plea into a violation of probation. Is that correct, Mr. Fortis?
That is correct. That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And so for the purposes of this hearing, is she waiving her right to be in my physical presence?
She is, Your Honor.
All right. We're going to take the plea first. So Ms. Lawrence, if I can get you to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the evidence and testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may put your hand down. What is your true and correct name?
Letitia Lawrence.
All right, Ms. Lawrence, you're charged in the accusation. I'll ask the state to place on the record what they're proceeding on.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I wasn't
absolutely aware that we were doing a plea on Ms. Lawrence.
All right.
Okay. Could you repeat that, Judge?
Yes, if you don't mind placing on the record what counts you're proceeding on.
For Ms. Lawrence, we'll be proceeding on a charge of disorderly conduct.
All right. And so do you understand what you were charged with, Ms. Lawrence?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you represented by Mr. Fortis as your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to discuss this matter with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he taken the time and opportunity to counsel you and advise you concerning the rights and options that you have with respect to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the advice and counsel that he has given you?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you pled not guilty, you would have the benefit of all the following rights: the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and cross-examine any witnesses that may be called to testify against you, the right to use the power and process of the court to compel the attendance of any evidence on your behalf, and the right to use and the right not to offer evidence against yourself, and the right to require that the state will prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go over those rights with your attorney before making a decision to plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Fortis, did you go over these rights with your client before today?
I did, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied that she fully and completely understands each matter as it applies to her case?
I am, Your Honor.
Do you know of any reason why she should not accept her plea?
I know of none, Your Honor.
Ma'am, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you intend to plea?
I entered the plea guilty.
Has anyone threatened you or coerced you in any manner to force you to plead guilty against your wishes?
No, ma'am.
As you stand here today, are you under the influence of any type of intoxicant?
No, ma'am.
Will the state please provide a factual basis?
Yes, Judge. On March 30th, 2020, law enforcement was dispatched to 368 2nd Street located in Clayton County in reference to a disturbance. MERAUDER Marauder Weems, that's WEEMS, advised that the defendant was kicking his car. There is no physical damage done to his vehicle. Law enforcement observed the defendant push Weems. The defendant was then placed under arrest and traveled to the jail, where in the back of the vehicle, she was kicking and banging her head against it. While law enforcement was trying to keep the defendant's legs from failing, she kicked the officer in the stomach. And all of these events occurred in Clayton County.
All right. Is this a negotiated plea?
Yes, Judge.
What are the terms?
The terms of this recommendation are 12 months probation, anger management, attorney's fees, probation fees, and restitution.
And what's the amount of restitution?
Could we set a restitution date, Judge, for later on, maybe 30 days?
Okay. Is that your understanding? Go ahead, Mr. Fortis.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Ms. Blunt, I thought that we had discussed that there would be 2 misdemeanors, a criminal trespass and the disorderly conduct, and that it would be 24 months probation. I'm just, that's what I've written down.
Okay.
Is that what the agreement was or not?
That was my understanding, because Ms. Blunt just discussed the disorderly conduct, and our negotiations were to add the criminal trespass count as well for 24 months probation.
Okay.
He's correct, Judge. That's my mishap.
All right, I will accept your plea. It'll be 12 months probation on the disorderly count, 12 months probation on the criminal trespass count to run consecutively for a total of 24 months probation. Attorney's fees, probation fees, anger management, a restitution date to be set at 30 days from today's date. Ms. Blunt, what were the other conditions?
Anger management and restitution, could we set that date out further? Maybe 30 days?
Right. Are there any other conditions other than that?
No, Judge, that's it.
All right. You have one year from today's date to file a habeas corpus petition in this matter. Now, moving to your violation of probation in case number 2019 CR 00550. Is that going to be a full stipulation, Mr. Fortis?
It will, Your Honor.
All right. If so, please place that on the record.
Yes, Judge. The defendant has violated probation in the following particulars. She's violated a criminal law, violation of criminal law on or about 3/20/20. The defendant committed the offense of interference with government property, simple battery, and simple battery of law enforcement in Clayton County, Georgia. She's failed to pay as ordered, and that the defendant is currently $2,512 in arrears of court-ordered monies. The only payment was provided on 2/18/2020 in the amount of $114. She's also violated the special conditions of Palm Waiver to enter and complete the day reporting center, in that the defendant signed a Palm Waiver on February 10th, 2020 to enter and complete the day reporting center, in which she has been discharged. And this is for 2 cases ending in 1310 as well as 0550.
All right. Therefore, is that your understanding of the stipulation, Mr. Fortis?
I'm sorry, Judge, you got cut off there.
That's all right. Is that your understanding of the stipulation?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. I will find by a preponderance of the evidence then that she has violated her probation. What is the state's recommendation?
The state's recommendation, from my understanding, was the 24 months probation that we came to.
Right. That's on the plea. What's
Right.
your recommendation on the violation of probation?
The recommendation of probation is to be adjudicated guilty on both cases and sentenced to 1 year, 10 months, and 26 days to serve in the state penal system.
I'm sorry, Judge. The negotiations with Ms. Blunt was going to be the plea that we took, the 24 months, and then she was going to be adjudicated guilty, and then her probation was going to be reinstated and be running concurrent with the 24 months that we just took the plea.
Okay. Is that correct, Ms. Blunt?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then therefore I will adjudicate you guilty on the probation matter and return you to probation. You're to report within 24 hours of your release. You can go back.
So Judge, what would be her sentence on the new cases under the first offender? Is she getting re-sentenced, or?
She'll be adjudicated guilty and returned to the original order of probation to run concurrently with the 24 months that she's running on the misdemeanors.
For her balance that she has left, the 1 year, 9 months, 14 days, because that's the max on them.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. She can go
Judge,
back. Go ahead. Hang on one second, Ms. Lawrence. Go ahead, Mr. Fortis. Sorry.
I was just going to say thank you, and thank you to everyone for setting this up. It's good to see you. Have a nice
Good to see you
weekend.
too. Be safe.
All right.
You can go back, Ms. Lawrence.
Y'all as well, Judge. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Doc Mui. Ms. Edwards.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. If you have another case, can you put me in the breakout room just to make sure that Mr. Mui has no question, because there is a little bit of a language barrier. He speaks English, but I just want to make sure before we go on the record that he doesn't have any last minute questions about the proceedings.
Why don't I bring him up? I can't create multiple because the jail only has one. I'll go ahead and bring him to the podium and put you guys in a breakout room. And as soon as you're done, we'll handle your matter.
Thank you.
All right, if Mr. Moore can come to the podium, please.
One moment.
Thank you. And Mr. West, your matter is actually at 10, but don't leave, because once we finish the 8, we'll go ahead and get started on the 10 matters that are here.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, thanks. And Mr. Matos and Ms. Farrar, I see you. We'll get to you. Thank you.
Judge, I do want to make you aware that I do have a 9 o'clock Zoom meeting on 2 other cases.
Okay. All right, I'm going to create a breakout room. If the jail will just accept the invitation when I create it. Thanks.
sure you speak loud, okay?
Yes,
When the
ma'am.
judge is talking.
Okay. You ready to go, Ms. Edwards? If you can unmute for me.
I am.
All right. And is this going to be a full stipulation, or do you wish to be heard on any matter?
That'll be a full stipulation, Judge.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Mui. You're here this morning for a probation violation hearing. You're represented by Ms. Edwards as your attorney. And for the purposes of this hearing, is he waiving his right to be in my physical presence?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It's my understanding that it's a full stipulation. If the state will please place that on the record.
Yes, Judge. The defendant has two cases, 2014 CR 0271905 and 2015 CR 0226805. The defendant has violated probation in the following particulars. There's a violation of criminal law on or about June the 8th of 2019. The defendant committed the offense of DUI, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, possession of drug-related objects, and possession of methamphetamine with intent in Spalding County. He's failed to report, and then on October the 15th of 2018, a revocation was held, hearing was held, at which the time the defendant was suspended upon being deported. The defendant was turned over to immigration on November 19th, 2018, and has since returned due to being arrested in Henry County, Georgia. The defendant has not reported since his last revocation hearing. He's failed to pay as ordered, in that the defendant is currently $894 in arrears on court-ordered monies. The last payment was provided on December the 19th of 2015 in the amount of $60. There's also a violation of special condition to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation treatment, and the defendant has failed to provide any proof of enrollment in or completion of an alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment as ordered by the court. There's a violation of special condition to maintain full-time employment, in that the defendant has failed to show proof of employment to the Morrow Probation Office. There's a violation of special condition to complete 200 community service hours. The defendant has completed 55 hours with 105 hours remaining. There is also a violation of special condition to complete the Clayton Day Reporting Center, and that the defendant was discharged for non-compliance.
All right. Is that your understanding as to stipulations to violations, Ms. Edwards?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Therefore, I will find by preponderance of the evidence that he has violated his probation. What is the state's recommendation?
The state's recommendation is to revoke the balance on both cases. For the case ending in 2268, that's 4 years, 2 months, and 7 days. For case ending in 2719, that's 2 years, 7 months, and 27 days.
Is that your understanding of the stipulation as to punishment, Ms. Edwards?
Yes, Your Honor. There was no clarification on whether those would be run concurrent or consecutive, so we would ask that they be ran concurrent.
All right.
And Judge, just for a correction on the time remaining on the case ending in 2719, that's 2 years, 5 months, 11 days.
All right.
Okay.
That is my understanding as well, Judge. And just for clarification, upon speaking to my client on several occasions, he insists that the new charges are in Henry County, not in Spalding County, just so that the record is clear. Not that it makes a difference. He does identify that there are new charges and the charges are correct, but he says that it's Henry County, not Spalding County. So I'll be representing him on that matter. So I'll get the paperwork and see what county it actually is in.
Okay. Thank you. All right, sir, I'm going to revoke the balance on both of your cases. I will run those concurrently. That is at the same time as one another, and that will close both of your cases. You can go back.
Come on,
Thank
Mr.
you, Your Honor.
Pull your face mask up. Come on, don't go over.
Okay.
Your Honor, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
You may be. Good to see you.
Good seeing you too. See you guys later. Take care.
All right. Is Mr. Howell, Deputy, is Mr. Howell up? I know he's on the 10 a.m. matter, but is he up?
He is up.
All right. Are you guys ready on that then, Mr. West, so we can get you on to your 9 o'clock call?
Yes, Judge, I'm ready.
All right, you can come to the podium.
And one moment.
All right, good morning, Mr. Howell. You're here this morning. You're represented by Mr. West as your attorney. Let me pull my 10 a.m. Is it a motion for a probation bond, Mr. West?
Judge, we set it down as a motion to lift the probation warrant, reinstate on bond.
Okay.
And basically, we file that in all our cases where we have a client in his situation. I have made an attempt to call the prosecutor's office and talk to them about a possible joint resolution of the case in general. I have not had a chance yet to speak with the prosecutor on this case. What I'm inclined to do today, Judge, is ask the court to hold. You guys moved very quickly to schedule this. But I think what I'd like to do is see if we can put this down for next week and give me an opportunity to speak with the prosecutor about a joint resolution of this matter.
All right, it will actually be 2 weeks from now, but does the state have any objection to that motion for continuance?
I have no objection, Your Honor, and he can call me at the office. I'm just got assigned to the courtroom, so that could be why he wasn't sure who to reach, so.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I
So you
think
can reach out
that's
to-
exactly right. So I'll call Miss Jansen and see if we can, if she can make sure she has the other file as well, we can try and see if we can't get a joint resolution of everything.
All right. I trust that she's going to have all of her information. He can go back. Thank you, Mr.
Judge.
West.
I'm sorry, Judge Powers?
Yes, ma'am.
You said Mr. Howell can go back, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
And
right.
Judge, actually, I had, sorry for the confusion, but the 10 o'clock matter was the one you just took. The 8 o'clock matter I had is the Joshua and Wynn case.
I am not
I didn't
showing
know
that
if
on my count.
Yeah, I had something showing with Judge Powers for Antonio Howell, and then I had something showing for Judge West with Joshua and Wynn, but this was the login credentials for that hearing, and his family is here.
Right. Well, that's not me. And if it's anything in front of Judge West, it's going to be the magistrate court.
Okay, let me say, I'll get with my staff and see if there's a different room I need to log into, Judge.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. All right, Starks.
Starks?
Yes, Laquita Starks. I believe that's Mr. Matos' matter. Good morning, Mr. Matos.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thanks for being patient.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
And what's your announcement on Starks? Is it going to be?
It'll be dispo only, Your Honor. We'll stipulate and then just argue disposition.
Okay.
A little closer. There we go.
All right, good morning, Ms. Starks. You're here this morning for a petition for violation of your probation. You're represented by Mr. Matos as your attorney. For the purposes of this hearing, Mr. Matos, is she waiving her right to be in my physical presence?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And it's my understanding it's a stipulation of violation. You wish to be heard on disposition?
On the sentence or disposition. Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. State, please place the violations on the record.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has a new violation of criminal law. On or about 6/25/20, the defendant committed the offense of criminal trespass, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and driving while license suspended in Spalding County. The defendant also has a new violation of special conditions. Failure to report as instructed. The defendant failed to report on 12/2/19 as instructed or any time thereafter. Failure to notify probation of address change on 12/13/10. I would assume that would be 12/13/19. But a field visit was conducted to the last address of record, at which time the head of household advised that the defendant did not reside at the residence and her whereabouts were unknown. Failure to pay. The defendant is currently $1,105 in arrears without ever making a payment. Violation of special condition to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment and submit to HIV testing. The defendant has failed to provide any proof of completing any special conditions.
All right. Your understanding is the stipulation as to violation, Mr. Matos.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then I will find by preponderance of the evidence that she has violated her probation. What is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is that the defendant be modified to serve 6 months in the Clinton County Jail. Upon service of time, the defendant is to return to the original orders of probation and must report within 24 hours.
What would you like to say, Mr. Matos?
Real quickly, Your Honor, the cases in Spalding County are still pending. This is a situation where Ms. Starks is involved in a domestic violence situation. She had to move out of the house. Her husband was abusive. She was living with her sister. Her sister lives in, I believe she's a probation officer in LaGrange. So that's who she's been living with. She is fearful, obviously, of her husband, but I think that has been the underpinning of what's going on. We'd asked the court she's been, I believe, since the 25th of June, I believe. We'd asked the court to allow her to return to probation. Obviously, she'd have to provide a new address change. And again, and you can confirm it or verify it with her. She is living with her sister at this point due to she has fears of her husband. Your Honor.
Where is your sister's address?
It is.
Well, don't give me the street address. Is it here in Clayton County?
No, ma'am, it's in Spalding County.
Okay. Does Spalding County have a day reporting center, Officer Stanley?
The nearest one is in Griffin, Judge.
Okay. But so if I revoked her to serve in the day reporting center, since there was no drug and alcohol evaluation done, would that be something that they would accept her from an order here?
It would, Judge, but my only concern is transportation issues getting to Griffin, to Lamar County, because the day reporting center is in Lamar County.
Well, that's not in.
But it's for Griffin and Lamar County,
Okay.
but it's just located in Lamar County.
Okay.
So I don't want to set it up for failure as far as transportation wise.
Do you believe that you would be able to secure transportation to go to the day reporting center daily?
Judge Powers, that is where my probation was transferred to begin with before violation. I was reporting with no issues to the Lamar County Probation Center. It is literally about 10 minutes away from my sister's location.
All right. Okay, anything further?
No, Your Honor, no, that's all we have.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to revoke your probation, substitute to time served, return you to probation with the additional condition that you intend to complete the day reporting center. So that's going to be an additional condition of your probation. You're to report to probation within 24 hours of your release. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you can go back. Thank you.
Good seeing you, Your Honor.
Seeing you too.
Good thing. Thank you.
All right, let me scroll back up. Ms. Farrar.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your announcement on Rudolph Russell?
I need to speak with him. I have visit scheduled, but he didn't, for whatever reason, he wasn't there. So I need to speak with him.
All right, if Mr. Russell can come to the podium. And I'll create a breakout room.
Okay, Ms. Peterson, do you need to talk with him?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, I'll add you both. Okay, what is your announcement in Russell?
Your Honor, without the new violation of criminal law, we up to the technical violations and to the disposition.
All right, is the state willing to proceed without the new criminal law violation?
Yes, Judge, and the recommendation would be 12 months Clayton County Jail.
I thought it was 1 month, 23 days.
I meant 1 month, 23 days. I'm sorry.
Scared me. All right.
Sorry.
It's going to be a full step, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Russell. You're here this morning for a petition for violation of your probation. You're represented by Ms. Farrar as your attorney. Is he waiving his right to be in my physical presence for the purposes of this hearing?
He is.
All right. And I understand it's a full stipulation, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
If so, please place that on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant has a violation for failing to report. He failed to report upon his last release from his probation waiver. And then on October 1st, 2019, or anytime after, he is not reported. He also has a violation for failure to pay, Your Honor. The defendant is currently $587 in arrears on court-ordered monies without ever making a payment. Finally, violation of special conditions to get a mental health evaluation and treatment if deemed necessary from the evaluation. He failed to provide proof of doing so. And on the record, we are withdrawing the violation of criminal law for purposes of this hearing. The recommendation by the state, Your Honor, is that we revoke the balance 1 month, 23 days, and that time be served in the Clayton County Jail and then close the case.
Your understanding of the recommendation is, or stipulations to violation as well as sentence.
It is, Your Honor.
I will find them by preponderance of the evidence based on the stipulation that Mr. Russell has violated his probation. I will revoke the balance and require him to serve that in the Clayton County Jail, after which this case will close. Mr. Russell can go back. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
What is your announcement? And are you representing Mr. Thomas, Raphael Thomas?
I am, Your Honor, and I believe Mr. McDowell, and let me find my calendar. And I talked about this yesterday. And he has a, no.
I'm sorry, Judge Powell, did you need someone?
Yes, Raphael Thomas, please.
Raphael Thomas, I'm clear.
Oh, Mr. McDowell and I talked about this yesterday about asking, I was going to ask for a continuance, and I believe he was in agreement with that.
I don't have any objection to continuing, Your Honor.
Okay, when you can explain to Mr. Thomas that you are asking for a continuance when he gets to the podium. In the meantime,
I spoke with him about that. I did.
Oh, you already have? Okay, Deputy?
Yes, ma'am.
We do not need Mr. Thomas. He's going to be continued. I apologize. Thank you.
Okay. Come on.
What about Shockley, Ms. Farrar? What's your announcement, Shockley?
Is Mr. Mineta not representing him?
I did not have an indication of that on the calendar. You believe Mr. Mineta?
He's not. Andrew actually told me he's not.
But I spoke with Miss Stanley yesterday, and she told me he was.
No, I told you on the calendar it had
okay.
It had Mineta's listed, and I wasn't for sure. I haven't spoken to anyone in reference to his case.
Okay, and he I need to speak with him. He didn't appear for a visit yesterday.
Okay.
Whenever it was scheduled, he was a no-show.
All right, may I have Mr. Shockley to the podium, please, Deputy? Thank you. And then I'm going to create a breakout room for him.
Thank you, Judge.
And Your Honor, just before you create that breakout room, and for Ms. Farrar's knowledge, the state at this point is not going to be willing to withdraw the criminal law violation.
All right.
Okay. Courtney, can you look and see when his prelim date is?
I sure can.
I'm going to add Courtney to the breakout room, or Ms. Peterson to the breakout room as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Farrar, are you talking about a prelim on Shockley?
Yes.
That case happened in Cherokee County, not Clayton.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thanks.
And just for your knowledge, he took a plea to that on November 18, 2019, Ms. Farrar.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, what was the outcome? Do you know?
5 years probation, 120 hours community service, alcohol and drug treatment.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna send you a copy of this sentence. I'll shoot it to your email real quick, okay?
Okay, thank you. Oh.
What's your announcement, Ms. Farrar?
Judge, if I could speak with Miss Shockley, I mean, not Miss Shockley, Miss Stanley and the district attorney assigned to this, if we could have a.
All right, who is assigned to this matter?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, that's right. You did make that announcement. Sorry, give me just a second.
Judge Powers?
Yes, ma'am.
I had went to a breakout room that you had created. Was someone else supposed to be over there with me, or was that not for me?
That was not for you. So I accidentally created that, so you don't have to go to one. Thanks. Okay, what's your announcement, Ms. Farrar?
There is a new offer, Your Honor, and I need to have a breakout room with Mr. Shockley.
All right, if Mr. Shockley will come back to the podium, please. And I'll create it. This is a breakout room for the jail this time. Thanks.
Mr. Shockley.
Ms. Farrar, what does he wish to do?
Your Honor, will stipulate to the, excuse me, criminal law violation. That's already been, he's already been sentenced on that. And we'd like to be heard on the technicals and be heard on disposition.
Okay.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Is the state wanting to have a hearing on the technical violations?
No, Your Honor, we will withdraw those for the purposes of today.
Okay. All right. And so it's a stipulation of violation, and now you wish to be heard on dispose. Is that correct, Ms. Farrar?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, sir. You're here for a petition for violation of your probation. You're represented by Ms. Farrar as your attorney. For the purposes of this hearing, is he waiving his right to be in my presence?
He does.
All right. Will the state please place the violations on the record?
Yes, Your Honor, the defendant has a new violation of criminal law. On or about 7/2/19, the defendant committed the offense of obstruction of an officer in Cherokee County. He received a disposition of 5 years probation. And the Superior Court number in Clayton County for that, Your Honor, is 19 CR 0876.
All right. So your understanding of the stipulation is to violation, Ms. Farrar?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. And therefore, I will find by preponderance of the evidence that he has violated his probation. What is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is that 2 years be revoked to serve in the state penal system. Upon service of time, balance of probation is suspended, and close the case.
All right. What would you have to say, Ms. Farrar?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Mr. Shockley just got out of prison. He went on a violation of Cobb County probation that he was on prior to the charges in Clayton County. He went in July of 2019. He's just been released. While he was in prison, he did his anger management and a program called the Threshold Program. And so now he's released, and he tells me he tried to get these probation taken care of, but I don't, violation, I don't know if that was possible. But we're asking that he be returned to probation. He's on probation for 5 years for the new criminal law violation in Cherokee County. He got 100 hours, I think, of community service, and anyway, and alcohol and drug treatment. He has his own company. He does like home renovations, things like that. We're asking that he be returned to probation, since he will be on probation and be supervised by Cherokee County anyway, rather than be returned to prison. And if that's not possible, he asks that, he tells me there's something called the Probation Detention Center, which is like prison. He says there's one in Blairsville near where he lives, that he be sent there rather than back to prison. But we would ask that he be returned to probation, since he's just served 1 year and has taken the classes necessary, and that he be returned, that you do that.
All right. Sir, it's a new criminal law violation. I'm going to revoke 1 year to serve in this matter and close your case. You will receive any credit on this matter that you're entitled to under the law. You can go back.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Is Emmanuel Jefferson up? That concludes the 8 a.m. calendar. We're going to go into the 10s that are on the call. Is Emmanuel Jefferson up?
I'm sorry, Judge Powers, did you say something, ma'am?
Yes, Emmanuel Jefferson, please.
Jefferson, okay, 1 moment.
What's your announcement in that, Ms. Farrar?
Your Honor, Mr. Jefferson, I believe, and I spoke with him yesterday, he has a preliminary hearing on August the 10th. I know I've asked for this to be continued before, but we just found the date of his preliminary hearing. I would ask it to be continued until after that date to see what happens with those charges.
What was the date on that again, Ms. Farrar? August the 10th?
August 10th.
Okay, Mr. Clark, if you'll make sure that that's continued out past August 10th. And does the state have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor, the state does not. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jefferson, because your preliminary hearing is on August the 10th, your attorney has asked for us to continue this matter until they decide what's going to happen with your charges in the preliminary matter. So today has been continued. You can go back, sir.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And Mr. Reeser has joined us. Antoine White can come to the podium. Thanks for getting on with us early. We finished our 8 a.m. earlier.
Of course, Your Honor. Thank you for allowing me to jump on early.
Judge, he's coming.
All right, great. Thank you. And it's a motion for probation bond, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your name? White. Take your mask off. Take your mask off so they can hear you.
All right, good morning. Sir, you're here this morning for probation, motion for probation bond. For the purposes of this hearing, is he waiving his right to be in my physical presence?
He is, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're here today, Your Honor, seeking a probation bond in case number 2010 CR 00041. Mr. White currently has a VOP on that case. And the VOP petition is alleging new criminal charges out of Clayton County that are also in front of Your Honor. And he's been in custody on those since December 6th of 2019. The petition is also alleging another criminal law violation out of Fayette County. And Your Honor, I have spoken with Mr. Wooten, who was the previous day on this, and Ms. Jansen this week about it. We're working to get a global resolution on this VOP and the new Clayton charges. And I've spoken with Ms. Jansen, and we've talked about the issues that are surrounding the new case. And we've been in discussions with that. And there are some additional documents that I'm going to be needing, not from Ms. Jansen, but from the prelim transcripts that I need to get from the court. And so me and Ms. Jansen agreed that we're going to hold off on the VOP and continue to work on the new charges in Clayton to resolve them together globally. Your Honor, so we're asking for a probation bond, one, to have a more opportunity to work on the new charges, because I think we can come to a resolution on those that's going to affect the disposition of the VOP, as well as we're trying to get Mr. White over to Fayette County to also resolve those charges, because those charges are going to be, would affect as well the disposition for the VOP in front of Your Honor. So this time, Your Honor, we are just seeking a probation bond in the amount of $10,000 to be able to get him to Fayette and hopefully resolve these cases in the VOP globally.
All right, what's his state?
Your Honor, what Ms. Reiser said is reflective of our conversations about the case and the present status of the VOP. The main concern of the state, and the reason why we would prefer that it just be reset for a global resolution for a short time rather than a probation bond, is because this is the defendant's 10th arrest while he's been on first offender probation. And that's a concern to the state because it appears that if he is on probation bond, the propensity to commit another crime is likely. That is why the state would object and actually ask for a reset for a global resolution.
All right, it's your motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. In regards to his criminal history, a lot of those, the charges that resulted in the arrest were either a lot of them are looking at his criminal history. A lot of those were ones that had occurred while he was actually in custody on the charges that placed him on probation. So that he was resolving those because he either missed a court date or failed to appear due to him being in custody. But Your Honor, we would just respectfully request probation not bond to be able to get him to Fayette, resolve that, come back to Clayton, excuse me, and resolve these globally, Your Honor.
I'm not sure that Fayette is doing a pickup. What I will do is, I'm not going to issue a bond today, but I'll continue it out 3 weeks. If he has not been picked up by that, I will certainly then, you do not have to refile it. I'm not denying it. I'm just not issuing it today. I'm going to continue this matter for 3 weeks. If he's not been picked up by Fayette, if there's not a global resolution, then I'm inclined to grant your motion at that point.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can be excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can go back. You're sending me to do that. All right, let's see.
Judge, who you need next? Or
give me just 1 second. Ms. Farrar, what is your announcement in width? You need to unmute. Ms. Farrar, are you having issues unmuting? Okay, you're trying. All right, I can.
There, something had popped up on my computer and I'm with, let me get caught up here. I believe I need to speak to Mr. Witt.
All right, Mr. Witt can come to the podium and then I'll create a breakout room.
Thank you.
Powers? Judge Powers?
Yes, it's going to be Mr. Witt to the podium and then in the breakout room, please.
Mr. Witt is not with us, ma'am. He has respiratory issues. He's on isolation.
Okay. All right. Well, then that matter will be continued.
Yes, ma'am.
what do you want me to do?
Was there someone else you wanted to the podium or to go into a
Yeah,
break?
give me just 1 moment. I'm going through my, how about McClinton, Ms. Farrar?
Okay.
Well, she's in the breakout room. All right. Bring McClinton to the podium and we'll explain to her about Witt. Thank you.
Okay, 1 moment.
All right, Ms. Farrar, Mr. Witt has respiratory issues and is apparently on isolation, so that matter is going to be continued.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, what's your announcement in McClinton?
In McClinton, he has a, hold on, let me find this file right here. He has a prelim on August 10th as well, and I spoke with him yesterday about continuing his case until after the results of his preliminary hearing.
All right, any objection to that by the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it'll be continued. You can go back, Mr. McClinton. It's going to be continued until you have your preliminary hearing.
Okay, please face myself.
All right, what about Avante Meredith?
And I've sent a note to Ms. Jansen and Ms. Stanley and also to Mr. Clark yesterday. I'm waiting to hear back from him. I spoke with his mother, well, via email. We corresponded. She's still attempting to get him into the rehab at Unison in Folkestone, and I'm waiting. It may take a little bit to get that done.
All right, well then why don't we just remove that? You let us know when he's in and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Judge.
Avante Meredith can go back. He's going to be continued.
Okay, I'm clear.
All right, and so we should only have Dixon and give me 1 moment.
Lavanya
Davis should
Davis.
be the only ones that are left, but we're waiting on those private lawyers to join the call. As soon as they do, we'll come back on.
So I'm all done?
You are. Have a great
Oh,
weekend.
hallelujah. Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. R.
Judge Powers?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, one person from the 8 o'clock, Mr. Alexander. I must have missed if you made an announcement on him.
I believe he might, Mr. Alexander's been continued. That was Mr. Florio's.
Okay, all right. So now we just have Ms. Dixon and Mr. Davis?
That's right. And we're just waiting on their attorneys to join us.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, good morning, Mr. Hood. Thank you for joining us this morning. What is your announcement going to be for LaVaniel Davis?
Good morning, Your Honor. I don't see myself, so I'm hoping that you can see me, right?
I can.
Just, I'm hoping that we have an agreement with Officer Stanley. I was awaiting her response, but we may have a consent disposition.
Okay, and what about as it relates to, what about as to his pending charges? I know the last time we were here, you indicated you were looking at a global resolution for all.
Yeah, I believe we will resolve that new case at a later date. My understanding is that probation may seek to reserve proceeding on the new charges and go forward on technicals. And I will work with Ms. Blunt on the new charges at a later date. Hopefully that's the announcement for this morning.
And Judge, what I was going to ask is for a breakout room with myself, ADA, and Mr. Hood.
All right, and Ms. Blunt, you're the one handling this matter?
Yes, Judge.
All right, let me create one.
Thank you so much, Judge. I'm hoping. Good morning.
All right, Mr. Hood, I am not seeing you on the breakout room. Give me just 1 second to see if I can restart it, and then maybe it'll appear.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Okay, for whatever reason, it is not allowing me to place you guys in a breakout room. I don't know if you guys want to handle it via conference call. I don't know if you want the rest of it to mute and you can discuss it here. And I'll excuse myself from it. Up to you.
Judge, if Mr. Hood can call my state phone, and then what he'll have to do is mute and come off a camera on here, and then I'll put him on speaker on my state phone. If you'll put me and Ms. Blunt in a breakout room.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, I can put him in one now. He's showing up. Give me just 1 moment.
We're back, Judge.
Okay, great. What's the announcement then for this matter?
So on the probation revocation, we're gonna withdraw the criminal law violations. We're gonna withdraw it until the disposition on the new cases came to, and we're gonna proceed on the technicals.
Is it going to be a full step? Mr. Hood, is it going to be a full step?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
All
Your
right. Give me just one moment. I apologize. My coworker is back barking in the background. So give me just one moment. All right, Mr. Davis can come to the podium. I apologize.
A moment.
All right, good morning, sir. You're here this morning for petition for violation of your probation. You're represented by Mr. Hood as your attorney. For the purposes of this hearing, Mr. Hood, is he waiving his right to be in my physical presence?
He is, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, it's my understanding this is going to be a full stipulation. So if the state, please place that on the record and what they are withdrawing.
Yes, Judge, for the purpose of this hearing, we are going to withdraw the criminal law violations. The defendant has violated probation in the following particulars. He's failed to pay money as ordered, and the defendant is currently $864 in arrears on court-ordered monies, making his last payment of $50 on May the 2nd of 2020. He has violated the terms of special conditions to provide proof of mental health treatment, defensive driving, and theft prevention, and that the defendant has failed to show proof of completing special conditions.
All right. Is that your understanding is stipulations to violations, Mr. Hood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Therefore, I will find by preponderance of the evidence that he has violated his probation. Ms. Blunt, what is your recommendation?
The state's recommendation is to revoke 60 days and for Mr. Davis to return to probation, but as soon as he is released, he's to report to probation within 24 hours.
Is that your understanding of the stipulations to disposition, Mr. Hood?
It is, Your Honor, and that is with credit for the time that he's not completed the 60 days, but he does receive credit for the time that he has served.
He'll receive any credit that the Department of Corrections and the sheriff, actually, because it's a 60-day sentence, I apologize, will give him. So I will revoke 60 days to serve, returning to the original order of probation. You'll of course, receiving credit. You're to report those, sir, within 24 hours of your release. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He can go back. Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that completes my business, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thanks.
Have a good day, Judge.
All right, it looks like we have one other matter. So as soon as Ms. Lynn joins the call, we'll take care of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, that completes my VOPs for the day. I think the pending matter is not a VOP matter.
No, it's a motion for bond.
May I be excused, please?
You may be. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have a great weekend.
You too. Ms. Lynn, I know you're connecting to audio. We'll give you just a second. This is a motion for bond, I believe, on Ms. Dixon's matter.
One moment, Judge Powers. I'm gonna get her to the podium.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Lynn, if I can get you to unmute as well.
Me, Judge?
No, Ms. Lynn.
Okay, Lynn.
Okay. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we're here this morning for a motion for bond. For the purposes of this hearing, is she waiving her right to be in my physical presence?
Are you asking me, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, Judge, I am.
Okay. All right. And it's your motion. You may proceed.
Your Honor, I communicated with Mr. Andrew Clark this morning regarding this motion. It's my understanding that the state, by way of Attorney LaCarrion Blount, has made a plea offer or a recommendation for this case. I have communicated that recommendation to my client, but I haven't had a chance to speak with her about it. Judge, if she wants to enter into a plea negotiation, I don't believe it would be necessary to go forward with the bond hearing this morning, and I would be interested in taking the plea on a different day in order to have the documentation completed.
Okay. Do you want me to create a breakout room so you can ask her what she wants to do this morning?
Yes, Judge, if we could.
All right. Give me just one moment.
Thank you.
All right. If you'll just accept that invitation, Ms. Lynn, and if the jail will accept as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. All right. What is the, well, we'll give Ms. Lynn just a moment to join.
Yes, ma'am. She was just waiting for the timer.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Dixon, do you still see me?
I do.
You do? Okay, I'm trying to leave this breakout room.
You have, you're back in the normal room now. So just tell us, what does she wish to do? Does she wish to accept the plea or have the bond hearing?
Yes, Judge, we wish to move forward with the plea.
Okay, and so you said you wanted to move to a different date, so you have an opportunity to go over everything with her. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, we'll get you one of those dates, and so she may go back and be excused, and thanks for joining us. You guys have a safe weekend. That concludes our calendar.
Thank you, Judge. And I just have a quick question before we go. Sure. Are we able to come and do the plea on Monday?
I doubt it because that's not my pod time, but I'm actually going to leave and go to a judge's meeting. If that changes, I'll let you know. If not, we'll get to another date. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You guys have a good weekend and please stay safe.
Thank you so much. You do the same.